Welcome to the Eat This Book podcast. I'm Michael Whitworth. Each day we take a small piece of scripture and we sit with it. Not a quick snack that disappears before lunch, not a chore you check off of a list, but rather a meal meant to be savored. So pull up a chair. Let's eat. In the old children's game of Mother May I, one child stands at the far end of the yard and the others must ask permission before taking each step forward. Mother, may I take 2 steps? The answer might be yes, or it might be go back to the start. The whole point is that approach is controlled, uncertain, and revocable. You inch forward, never sure if the next request will be granted or denied. Most people relate to God that way. A cautious approach, hedged with qualifications, braced for rejection. I know I don't deserve this. I know I failed. I know you're probably tired of hearing from me. We creep toward God the way those children creep across the yard, one tentative step at a time, waiting to be sent back to the start. The writer of Hebrews is about to blow the game apart. Since then we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus the Son of God. Let us hold fast our confession. After the searing exposure of the previous passage, the word that pierces to the division of soul and spirit, the gaze from which nothing is hidden, you might expect the writer to leave his audience on their knees in terror. Instead, he pivots to the most inviting sentence in the letter. The blade has done its work. Now the healer steps forward. And the writer names him with full titles, each one carrying weight accumulated across these episodes. Great High Priest. Not merely a priest, but the preeminent one. Passed through the heavens. Not standing at the threshold the way Israel's high priest stood at the curtain, but having gone all the way through, past the veil, into the actual presence of God. Jesus, the human name, the name of the one who was hungry, tired, tempted, and killed. The Son of God. The title from chapter 1, the radiance of glory, the exact imprint, the heir of all things. Both names, both natures, in a single breath. Fully human, fully divine, your priest. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who is in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. The writer anticipates the objection that total exposure naturally produces. If God sees everything, every thought, every intention, every hidden motive, then how could anyone approach him? The answer is not, God has agreed to overlook what he sees. The answer is that the one who sees you has been you. He is not unable to sympathize. The double negative in Greek, ou me, is emphatic, almost defiant. He is absolutely not unable. He can, he does, he sympathizes. The Greek word sympathize means to suffer alongside, to feel with, to share the experience from the inside. This is not pity from above, the distant compassion of someone who observes your struggle and feels sorry for you. This is the identification of someone who has stood in the same place, felt the same pull, endured the same weight. The writer has been building toward this moment since chapter 2. The Son partook of flesh and blood. He was made like his brothers in every respect. He suffered when tempted. And now the accumulated force of all that identification lands in a single word. He sympathizes. And the scope is total. In every respect, he was tempted as we are. Not in some respects, not in the convenient ones, but every respect. The pull of hunger, the weight of loneliness, the seduction of a shortcut, the pressure to abandon the mission, the anguish of facing death. Whatever temptation you carry into God's presence, the high priest has felt its gravity firsthand. You will not present him with a foreign experience. You will present him with a familiar one. Yet without sin. That phrase is brief, almost parenthetical, but it changes the meaning of everything around it. The Son's sympathy is not the solidarity of a fellow failure. It's the understanding of someone who faced every temptation at full force and never yielded. And that means he knows temptation better than you do, not less. A person who gives in to the temptation at the halfway point has only experienced half its strength. The one who endures to the end, who never breaks, who stands against the full weight of the thing until it exhausts itself, that person knows its power completely. The sinlessness of the Son does not create distance between him and you. It means he has felt what you feel, only more intensely, more completely, and more honestly than you ever have. And then comes the invitation. After everything, the warnings about drifting, the bodies in the wilderness, the word that pierces soul from spirit, the gaze from which nothing is hidden. After all of that, the writer says this: "Let us then have confidence to draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need." Let us draw near. The Greek term is a technical term for a priest approaching God in worship. In the Old Covenant, only the high priest could draw near to God's presence, and only once a year, and only with blood, and only behind a curtain that said, "Do not enter," to everyone else. The writer takes that restricted, fear-laden, once-a-year act and hands it to every Christian. Draw near. Not the priest alone, you. And not once a year, whenever you need to. Not with the blood of animals, but with the confidence that the great high priest has already passed through the heavens on your behalf. And notice what the throne is called. Not the throne of judgment, though God is judge, and the writer has just described total exposure before his eyes. Not the throne of power, though the Son sustains the universe by the word of his power. It's the throne of grace. The writer renames the furniture. The seat of the universe's sovereign authority is, for the one drawing near through the Son, a seat of grace. The same throne, a different experience of it, determined entirely by who is sitting on it and who has opened the way. Two things are available at this throne: mercy and grace. They are not the same thing. Mercy addresses the past, the failures, the sins, the ways you have fallen short. It is God's response to what you have done. Grace addresses the present and the future, the strength you lack, the help you need, the resources required for what lies ahead. It is God's response to what you are facing. The throne dispenses both, and the writer says you will receive mercy and find grace. Mercy is handed to you. Grace is discovered, found in the moment you need it, matched to the specific need, and available precisely when the time demands it. In time of need means the help is not generic. It's timed. It arrives when you need it because the high priest who sympathizes knows exactly when that is. Here's what I think we should savor from this passage. First, the exposed one is invited near. The same writer who said nothing is hidden from God's sight now says draw near with confidence. These are not contradictory statements. They are sequential ones. You are fully seen and fully welcome. The exposure is not the end of the story. The throne is. Second, sympathy is not weakness. A high priest who sympathizes might sound like a soft consolation, a God who feels bad for you, but the sympathy described here was forged in temptation and endured without breaking. The Son's compassion is not sentimental. It is the hard-won understanding of someone who took the full weight of human struggle and did not fold. That kind of sympathy doesn't pity you, it meets you. Third, the throne of grace. The writer could have called it anything. He chose grace. That one word defines everything about how you approach God. You are not approaching a courtroom. You are not approaching an examination table. You are approaching a throne that has been named after the thing you need most. If you've been staying away from God because you're ashamed of what He'd see, this passage says He's already seen it. In episode 112, it made that clear, and the very next breath in the letter is draw near. The seeing did not result in a closed door. It resulted in an invitation. If you approach God with a cringe, apologizing before you've spoken, bracing for disappointment, the word is confidence, not arrogance, not presumption, the settled assurance that the high priest who represents you has already passed through the heavens and is seated at the right hand. Your access is not based on your performance. It's based on His. If you're in a time of need right now, acute, pressing, the kind that wakes you up at 3 a.m., the grace available at this throne is not a standing supply of general encouragement. It is help in time of need. It is timed. It is specific. The high priest who sympathizes with your weaknesses knows the exact shape of what you're facing, and the grace he provides is fitted to it. If you've been trying to clean yourself up before you pray, waiting until you're in a better place spiritually, until you've gotten the sin under control, until you feel worthy of approaching, you have the sequence reversed. You don't get clean and then draw near. You draw near and receive mercy. The throne of grace is not a reward for the qualified. It's a resource for the needy. And if you carry a low-grade belief that God tolerates you but doesn't enjoy your approach, that prayer is a duty he endures rather than a relationship he welcomes, the writer says the high priest sympathizes. He feels with you. The throne room of the universe is not a waiting room where you sit around until your number is called. It's a place where the one on the throne knows your name, has walked your road, and calls you forward. Next time on Eat This Book, what qualifies someone to stand between God and humanity? Hebrews gives a surprising answer. It's weakness. Join me in Hebrews 5 as we explore why Israel's high priests were taken from among the people and why shared frailty was part of the job description. Thanks for eating with me. Until next time, may the Word dwell in you richly.